Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm K Cartoon.
I'm Rx Phonics.
We are the Audio Apes. You are officially hanging with Apes, and this is the Culture Corner, where we review culture. In today's segment, we're going to break down Eminem's surprise album, Kamikaze. Is Eminem back?
Yes, he is, and he's taking shots. Lil Xan, Lil Pump, Agent Orange, aka Trump.
Real quick, can I ask you a question? What'd you think of this album in comparison to Revival?
This one is more Eminem.
I think he shows it on the first track.
Yes, and well, I mean, he's like, I'm not gonna think about it. I'm just gonna do.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with whatever comes to mind. I'm gonna write it down and see where it takes him.
Keep in mind those shots that he took just on the ringer alone. So I mean, that's pure Eminem.
That's
already
how he kicked off the album, absolutely.
Yep.
Which was kind of cool because I felt like although a lot of thought went into this album, he didn't overthink it like he did Revival. He definitely wasn't scared to name drop. He definitely wasn't scared to talk about certain things that are important to him.
Exactly.
And I was thrilled. I was thrilled. What'd you think of The Greatest, the second track?
The Greatest, definitely after that type of intro, works well because before on previous albums he had tracks like that, but it's like they were just out of nowhere. Yeah. Whereas this one, it's like kind of a continuation.
Yeah, it made sense. Yeah. It was lighthearted, not Slim Shady level lighthearted, but Eminem level lighthearted. It went well in contrast with the first record. So yeah, I liked it. I definitely didn't like it as much as I liked the first song, but it was a good contrast, a good addition to it, and good to carry the album along.
Most definitely. And then talking about contrast, Lucky You, track 3. What'd you think?
Joyner Lucas, that's all I have to say.
He went off. He talks about, probably not winning a Grammy, being an underground artist. He snapped. Perfect for the hook. And then Eminem.
Yeah, Eminem was great. Yeah. I liked Eminem approaching rap, analyzing rap in the way that it needs to be analyzed and in a way that so many artists seem to be scared to analyze and talk about it. It was so refreshing. It was Joyner Lucas, like I said, was amazing. Joyner Lucas showed his talent. I mean, very few people in the history of rap have been able to keep up with Eminem on a track.
Yes.
Let alone surpass him. I don't know if I'll necessarily say Joyner Lucas surpassed Eminem, but he definitely kept up with him. Yeah. And that's a feat not many rappers have been able to do.
Not only that, the fact that he did so well against him. Really, the only thing I'll give Eminem is how raw and unfiltered and critical of himself. He was just honest. And that's when you get the best Eminem is when he's at his most honest. Absolutely. Which then you fast forward to the skit with Paul Rosenberg.
Which was great. It was an ode to those old albums with Paul and leaving those voicemails. That brought me back so many memories. I actually, after I listened to this album, I went back to listen to all of Eminem's albums, just the Paul skit on each one. Because it's always great having like the Paul skit, the voicemail, and then Eminem's response.
And it's great because it's just like Eminem just not taking himself serious.
Yeah, not taking himself serious, at the same time showing, like what I said earlier, the thought that went into this and how Paul kind of always having his back, always is in his ear letting him know, listen, you can do this, but this is what might happen if you do this. So definitely very, very cool. It felt like normal Eminem, which brings us to track 6, Normal. What'd you think of that record?
I loved it. So Eminem, historically, I don't even think there's any beat that where he's on where it switches drastically, which I definitely appreciated with Normal. And the subject matter, which is about like the dating scene and all that stuff, Eminem just does great when it comes to that.
Yeah, he approached it very contemporary. Very skilled. I like the way the record was put together.
And the beat switch.
I was pleased with it, definitely.
Yeah. And then you get the M calling Paul Rosenberg back.
Yeah, that was cool. That was... I didn't enjoy that skit as much as I enjoyed the Paul skit, but it was still cool. It was still M being lighthearted, being his angry self, and kind of... in a sense, making a mockery of the whole thing.
Not only that, then he talks about the Yahoo critic, and he's like, I know where he lives. He's in Michigan somewhere. I'm right outside of his house. So it was fun. And then you get track 7, Stepping Stone.
Which was brutally honest, which made that track monumental. I felt like that's a track that Eminem has probably wanted to do for a long time. Yeah. But again, overthinking things, maybe not being sure if he should do it, maybe not being sure if he should say those things.
Yeah.
He didn't until now, and I was so glad that he did. Just brutally honest and great.
Yeah, especially, us being D12 fans, there was a lot of unanswered questions that he definitely breezed through in the whole track, but definitely like got deep into it at the same time. And it was something I appreciated, because after Proof passed away, which he talks on the track, it just wasn't the same. We just didn't know the story behind it, and that's why Stepping Stone was definitely an amazing song.
But that was something that I feel like the majority of the fans felt, that after Proof died, things weren't really the same with that whole camp.
Yeah.
I think the relationship between Eminem's older friends and people that he had an alliance with, in some cases it's still there, but in other cases it's different. But you do see that it's still there with Royce the 5'9" in the next track,
Yes.
Not Alike.
Yes, which he takes the Eminem takes the Migos flow.
Yeah.
And then it was, what is it, T-shirt? Yeah. Yeah, it's a Migos song called T-shirt, and he takes that flow, and in the hook he's comparing things that don't compare.
Right.
And then essentially saying we're not alike. This new generation, this old generation. Then Royce the 5'9" commences to killing it.
Yeah, I felt like that was probably the closest to Slim Shady that we got on this album.
Yeah, it was actually reminiscent of some of the stuff Hopsin has been doing on previous album, which I appreciated. And then the beat again, it worked. The only thing is, listening to Joyner Lucas on the other track, I thought like Joyner Lucas would have kind of added a different level to the hook. But I mean, overall, very good song.
Yeah, definitely. And then the title track, Kamikaze. What are your thoughts?
I loved it. At first, I was like, the way it started, it was wacky Eminem. He was having fun with it, and then obviously like the hook has the fact, which if you're an Eminem fan, is kind of reminiscent of that song on, what was it, Encore? Well, the Encore Curtain Calls.
Curtain Call, yeah.
So it was fun as a fan, but then towards the end, when the beat switches, what did you think?
That was awesome. A little bit more serious, a little bit more honed in. He had many targets. Yeah. He took his shot, and I think he hit his mark.
Yep, he hit a Drake. So we'll see what, and then that actually fast forwards to 10, which kind of coincides with 9 a little bit.
Yeah, it does. That you could definitely feel like there's some sort of correlation between the tracks.
And the name of the track, Fall. What'd you think?
I liked it. One of, in my opinion, the not as memorable records on this album, but still enjoyable.
Yeah, it was a little slower paced, but the thing is, the shots that he's taking, that's what kind of makes the track. So he takes a shot at Lord Jamal, then you get Earl Sweatshirts, then you get Tyler the Creator.
You know what?
Drake.
Yeah, you're right. I'm getting the records confused between that one and Nice Guy.
Oh yeah.
No, that was probably one of the better. Fall is probably one of the better records on the album. I'm thinking about the next track. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so you can't even complain. Who else does he get at? Oh yeah, then not only that, which I found it amazing, was when he says that, he's provided a lot to the culture. Guys like Logic, Hopsin, Cole, Joyner, and I was like, yes, finally, because I don't think Eminem gets credit on sometimes when it comes to hip hop.
He definitely doesn't get the credit that he deserves when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of everything that he's contributed to the culture.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hopsin on Instagram was very happy that Eminem mentioned his name. It's very clear that Hopsin is a big Eminem fan.
Yeah.
And another thing that was interesting about this whole situation is that you could tell that Charlemagne heard the shots that Eminem took at him.
Oh, and not only that,
because Charlemagne tweeted about it.
Yep, and I almost forgot. He took a shot at Academics and then Joe Budden, which, as we know, Eminem had signed Joe Budden, and that's why they had the group Slaughterhouse. So now there's a rift now between them, and you can see it full blown on this track. So I think that's where the album should have ended, though.
I agree totally, and that's where I had made the mistake previously, where I thought that that track was underwhelming, but I was wrong. It's actually the next track, which is. It's Good Guy, Nice Guy, and then Venom, or is it
Nice? It was Nice Guy, Good Guy, Venom.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think the album would have been more compact, more concise if it would have just ended at Fall.
Yeah.
But those last 3 tracks kind of lacked. Actually, there's not a lot differentiating nice guy and good guy, so it's really easy to get them confused. They're actually the same girl is on both hooks with Jessica Reyes. Yep. So
and the song doesn't even stop. Almost it's a continuation. So and again, it's like on some relationship stuff, maybe towards Kim or something like that. But it's like we've heard it before, and we've heard better versions of that, and it just doesn't go cohesively with the album. Then Venom. Not a bad track. It's just a fun track for a movie. You should have just left it at that.
Yeah, and it definitely sounds like soundtrack-ish.
Yeah,
like it's not. It didn't have a real place on this album.
Not really, no.
So yeah. So one question I will say to you is, where do you put this album in line with all of Eminem's albums?
Wow, that's tough. So we got Relapse. We have Encore. Those are my top two. Then probably the Eminem Show. Marshall Mathers LP 2. I would maybe around between Marshall Mathers LP or not. Well, I said Marshall Mathers LP 2, Marshall Mathers LP, and Slim Shady LP. Probably in between those, I would say, because with Relapse and Encore, you just had a higher, like skill level, satire and stuff like that. So I would say
a lot of variety.
Yeah, around 5 or 6.
Yeah, I would have to put this album around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
In my Eminem album spectrum.
Yeah, which is not bad. I mean, because if you compare those albums, those are amazing albums. It's kind of more of a return to form.
Yeah.
So,
well, this has been our segment of Culture Corner, where we break down and review culture. This was for Eminem's Kamikaze. Remember to drop a comment. Remember to subscribe. Hit that bell to get notified. And check out our weekly Tuesday episodes of Hanging with Apes. We're on Apple, we're on Google, we're on Spotify, all that good stuff. We're out. Peace.
Which was like a glaring, I think, misstep in how they look at that shit, which is, have you had a drink?
Yeah.
Before you slept with this man. Well, listen, when you go out, not everyone drinks, I know that, but when people go out, they drink. So you're not supposed to have sex after that?